Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet our listening audience. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak. Welcome to our second week. This is week 2. Week 2, day 1. Week 2, day 1 of our Ramadan session for students. Everyone is welcome, but this is the Ramadan session for students. And we're going to look again at the analyzing the verse. This is the first day. We do this for 4 weeks. So we've gone through it week 1, the Mali system. I'm showing you all the Mali systems, step by step. And this week I'm going to introduce maybe a couple of more sources. The method is the same, but there's some other sources, and I may get a little more in detail with the grammatical analysis. So we're going to look at the 4 sheets for grammar. These are the 4 sheets that the Mali system is based upon in terms of reading the Qur'an grammatically. We have the conjugation sheet, the 10 form sheet, the verbal moods, the grammar of nouns. All of your basic rules for grammar are on these sheets. So with a good teacher, learn how to take the Qur'an and use the sheets. That's the system. How to take the Qur'an is the book and analyze the verses grammatically by using the sheets. We don't use a grammar book per se, in terms of learning the rules. With a good teacher, knowing how to use the sheets. Then, if you need to reflect upon a word that's in the Qur'an, grammatically, where is its position grammatically? Because as we have said, you have to know what the Qur'an is saying before you can begin to think or talk about what it means. You have to know what it's saying first. So if you get stuck on a word you don't know grammatically, then go to the sheets. You don't have to wade through a 400-page grammar book to try to figure out what the rule is. Go to the sheet. Now we're going to analyze the verse grammatically. Based on the sheets, when we're analyzing the verb, we have to determine if it's a verb, if it's a noun, or if it's a particle. For the verb, noun, or particle. The verb indicates an action that has occurred in the past and it has been complete as we speak. The present is an action that is going on as we speak. Therefore, the mood can change. The mood can be indicative, nothing's affecting it. Subjunctive, something else affected it. I did this in order that this would happen. Or the adjussive, there's a commanding spirit with it. If it's present tense, it's either indicative, subjunctive, or adjussive. Then you have the command. And then you have the form of the verb, one of the 10 forms. This is what you would have to know by the verb. We drill you with the sheet until you can see a word, it all comes out. And then let me add conjugation. Yes, all verbs have to be conjugated. So we will add conjugation. Yes. Conjugation and form. That's the past tense verb. Now, to analyze the noun names something. The word for name in Arabic and the word for noun in Arabic is the same word, ismun. So the noun is naming something. The verb indicates an action. The noun, it names. It's the name of something. The noun is going to appear nominative, accusative, or genitive based upon the ending. Is it internal, active, or passive? What form? This is how we analyze the noun. Nominative, accusative, or genitive, internal, active, or passive noun, and what form? What's the form, 1 through 10? And this week, it's going to be based upon page 9 to 11 of the Ramadan sessions of Book 1 by Imam W.D. Muhammad. So you want to read that during the week, at least. We're going to be reading up to page 40 during the whole month. This week, from 9 to 11. Be sure to write down your questions. We had a good session yesterday with questions and discussion. Be sure during the week, write down your questions, that you will come with questions. Come with your questions on Sunday. This is every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, let's go to the sheets. We'll look at the sheets first. This is the first sheet is the conjugation sheet. We went over it last week. We'll go over it again. We learn through repetition. The teacher, if you're teaching something like this, you're teaching Quranic Arabic, this language, you can't become bored with yourself because you have to keep repeating yourself. Many people, they fail at teaching. They're not good teachers because they feel they have to have something new every day. They're not making sure the student learns because they become bored with their own teaching. So we'll go over it again. By the end of the month, many of you who are students, because we're just not doing this on Facebook, many of you are students, so you get a chance to become aware of what you're going to be studying and looking at. So it won't be so strange to you. So we have the first sheet, conjugation sheet. You have the past tense, the present tense, and the command. A verb has to be one of the three. It has to be past, present, or command. Now the conjugation, what we mean by conjugation. Don't get too hung up on these English words. They help to understand. But don't get stuck on English. The conjugation, it gives you the hidden pronoun that's in the verb. Every verb has to have a doer of the act. Whether the doer is named or if the doer is not named, then it uses the pronoun, the hidden pronoun. I did something. You, masculine singular, did something. She, masculine singular, did something. You, feminine singular. He did something. The forms of words, the way you form words is based upon the root word fa'ala, based upon the fa'ala pattern. He did. Least common denominator of the triliteral root, fa'alat. We add letters to it. We add a 2. When we add a sukoon and a 2 in this form, you read it, there's a sukoon and a 2 on the end. You know I did something in the past tense. Sukoon ta on the end, you masculine singular did something in the past tense. Sukoon t, you feminine singular did something in the past tense. You get the tab with the sukoon. Now this is called the feminine tab. The tab marbut is not the feminine tab. Now that's something that has been misunderstood by beginning teachers, those beginning in Arabic. They treat the tab marbut, it's called the tie tab. When it's connected to a noun, they call it the feminine tab. Like if you take the word Muslim, it's masculine, put the tab on it, Muslima. They say this tag calls it to be feminine, so they treat words like this as feminine. This tag is not always a feminine tag. It's not called the feminine tag. It's called the tied tag. Tag marbut, the tied tag. This is called the feminine tag. When you get into reading Arabic tafsirs or Arabic grammar books, when they say the feminine tag, it's referring to this tag here, the tag on fa'alat. This tag with the sukoon, this is the feminine tag, not this one. And this one does not always make the word feminine necessarily. And then you add sukoon na for we. Sukoon tu, you masculine plural. Sukoon tunna, you feminine plural. You add the wild aleph on the end. We have this wild aleph like this. And you don't pronounce the aleph. Fa'alu, they masculine plural. So forth and so on. So if you notice, nothing is added to the front of the past tense. Something is added on the end. So memorize it by what's added on the end. Then we have the present tense. You notice the present tense in some places, there's a letter that's added on the beginning. It's on the beginning either a nay to, na, yeah, or ta. It's added on the beginning of the present tense. So we coin it by saying a nay to. On the end, sometimes something is added, sometimes it's not. For you masculine plural, you will see a lot in the Qur'an. We add un. For you feminine plural, we don't see it a lot, you just add sukoon na. For they masculine plural, un. For they feminine plural, sukoon na. But here is ta. You masculine plural, you will see time and time again. You had ta and una. If you see this ta, if you see a una, always go back. Look at the ending and then go back. That's how you read it. You look here, go back. If you see una with a ta, it's going to be you masculine plural. Because una is also on a noun. The only place you have una is with una with the ta or una with the yeah. If you see una any other time, it's not a verb. It's a noun. Una with the ta, you masculine plural. Una with the yeah, they masculine plural. All this you will learn in the class. And I drill you in the class. After a while, your eyes will start seeing it. Your mind will see it. And you start to read grammatically by being drilled by these sheets. This is the Mali system. And it works. But it's not an overnight. You're not going to learn overnight. Nobody's going to come and learn Arabic overnight. You're not going to learn in 2 days. You're not going to learn with having a conference in 2 days or or a seminar in 2 days and you come out learning Arabic. No. It doesn't work like that. There's no magic in it. If it worked like that, believe me, I have a long line around the corner. If I could teach to read the Qur'an in 1 week and you can pick it up and read it, believe me, there'll be a line around the corner. And most of you listening right now wouldn't be able to afford me. The demand would be at a rate, the money I would charge would be so high, you wouldn't be able to afford me. Yes. And because we're not to sell Allah's sign for a small price, you can't afford me anyway. Because anything you give me for learning would be small. Therefore, Mali is free. It's free. And it's open. There's no secrets. I have no secrets in what I'm teaching. No. If you want to donate, you feel because you're learning, you want to donate, the money you donate is given out in charity. I don't use it on myself. I don't take your money to the store, to the mall, to the car lot. I don't do that. I give it out in charity, and I donate to certain organizations in the community that help and benefit Mali. That's what I do with it. So we're giving. We're giving. There's no cost. My time, you don't have to pay for my time, and I don't pay for your time. I'm honored that you will come to the class and be drilled. Maybe I should pay you after drilling you. Yes. But we learn. That's the hadith. Read. The Quran says read. Most of us don't want to mean, it doesn't mean read the Quran. Read. And the Prophet, President, peace be upon him, says, and when you have learned to read, teach 10 others to read. It's called public education. Once you learn to read, teach 10 others to read until all of us can read. Read the Quran with comprehension. Yes. But you don't charge anyone. It's not a profession like that. The Quran is not a profession. I teach you and charge you. Yes, I don't do that. If I'm invited somewhere to speak, I don't take honorariums. You don't pay me. Get me there, put me in a hotel, get me back. That's all I require. If you say I don't have any money, okay, I'll go half. I'll pay to get there, you pay for the hotel. I pay to get myself back. I don't do honorariums. I don't do that. But I don't travel a lot either because I have classes. I dedicate my time to the Mali students on the weekends. So I'm not available to travel. But when I do, ask anyone. I don't take honorariums. I teach the Quran. And that allows me to be free in my teaching. Yes. You don't like what I say? Don't invite me. But don't ask for your money back because you didn't pay me. Not that I come to hurt your feelings or say something bad. It's just that I prepare myself. I do the best I can. You don't have to pay me. Now, some people, the audience wants them to say certain things. If they don't want to say it, we don't pay you. And they fear they're not going to get paid, so they have to say certain things and do certain things that's really not them because they want the money. I don't do that. You know what you're getting when you invite me? You don't pay me. I don't charge. That's the way it is. I don't sell Allah's sign, the Quran. I don't sell it for a small price. And believe me, whatever you give me will be small compared to what Allah has given. It'll be small. Okay. 10 form chart. Past tense. Let me give you the key. I'm going to give you keys today. We'll look at some keys. I know I didn't go over the command, but it's okay. The past tense, you got the past, the present, and the command. 10 forms. The past tense, fa'ala. It could be fa'ala, fa'ula, fa'ila. You look in the dictionary, it'll help you by giving you which one it is. Present tense, yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, yaf'ulu. Look in the dictionary, it will help you. Now, if it's a fatah in the present, it's going to be a fatah in the command. If it's a kasra in the present, it's going to be a kasra in the command. If it's a dhamma in the present, it's going to be a dhamma in the command. So dictionary don't have to give you the command. Then the dictionary is going to give you one of the 40 forms in terms of where the meaning comes from. It'll give you the origin of the meaning of the word from this. We call it the internal noun. Now, if you look at any book, any grammar book, you're not going to find this word internal noun. This is a Mali expression. Internal noun. It's called the masdar. I could have called it the essential noun. The essential noun. I could have called it the black noun. That'd be too deep for you, though. So I call it the internal noun. So if someone coined this term, or use this term, internal noun, they're either a student of Mali or they have come in contact with a student of Mali. Yes. But it's no secret. If you don't want to be a student, don't say internal noun. Yes. You know them by their marks. So now, there are 40 different forms in this category. We're putting these nouns in a certain category. 40 different forms in Form 1 category. And the meaning may come out of this form, one of these forms. So the dictionary will give you the form. Some will give you the most used form, and some will give you the origin of the meaning. Then you have derivatives. You have other forms here, and you have derivatives of the original noun. But nonetheless, you have over 40 different forms. That's the internal noun. Then you have the active noun with the fa'il form, and you have the passive noun with the maf'ulun form. So all the nouns in the Qur'an can be measured to this chart except for this one. If none of the nouns measure to any of these other nouns on the chart, 1 through 10, internal, active, or passive, then consider it to be an internal noun form 1. It's all on this chart. Now, let's look at what creates the forms. Now, you may have to go back and listen if you're interested. Once you get into class, we drill through this. But those of you that want something quick, you already know Arabic, and you want a quick lesson, go back on Mondays and look at what I was saying last Monday, look at this Monday, and you can get it. Maybe. It's not a self-taught, but if you need a review, even those of you who have studied Arabic in schools, you studied Arabic in university, and it was difficult for you. Believe it now, I can say this. If you studied Arabic in university, and you found it difficult, even if you was at Harvard, and you found it difficult learning how to read grammatically, I can fix you in one weekend. Now, I could do that. I could fix you. I could fix you in one weekend. Because all it is just jumbled up in your head. I know the books they use. I know the method they use. But I can unjumble it. I can unjumble your head, if that's a word, unjumble. If it's not, put it in the Black Dictionary. I just made it up. Unjumble. I will unjumble your head in one weekend. Yes. Been there, done that. I had a teacher told me I could fix you in 10 minutes. I went to him and he did. He fixed me in 10 minutes. I was crying. I couldn't get it. He said, "Did you go over it?" I said, "Yes." "You've had it?" He said, "Yes." "The teacher showed you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come by my house, I'll fix you in 10 minutes. And I was in his house and he fixed me in 10 minutes. So I can say that. I can fix you. Come through the back door so nobody know you came. Nobody will see you. And then in 10 minutes and 1 weekend, the whole language, I'll fix you. Then go back out the back door so nobody see that you came, and you'll be better. Guarantee. Money back guarantee. Form 2, shadda. We add the shadda. On the past tense, we look at the past tense first, then we follow it through with the verbs. The noun may not follow that. You have to learn your nouns. I'll show you the nouns. Let's look at the verbs first. It's a shadda. Now, someone asked me the question yesterday, and I forgot. We were doing a lot of talking, and we spent a lot of hours. I forgot to answer it to show this. Next time I'll do better, inshallah. We talked about, the question is emphasis. This is a Ramadan session, so I'm not going to just give it to you straight. I'm not telling stories and jokes or whatever. But we're going to talk a lot. I'm not on the clock. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not on the clock. Okay, emphasis. In one of the rules, we have emphasis. And we have intensity. And someone wants to see the clarity between intensity and emphasis. In the emphasis, we're going to go over twice today. That way I answer the person's question. In emphasis, we say it's said twice. Now, when we're dealing with the two nouns I say it twice. Same noun, say it twice. That shows emphasis. When you're dealing with a verb and a noun, we call it the mutlaq, and we use the same English term, emphasis. Using a verb and a noun together. And that verb and a noun has the same root or the same meaning. That's in the verb and the noun. It has the same root meaning, root letters, or it has the same meaning. It's as though you're saying it twice. That's emphasis. Now, when we come to form 2 with intensity, you use a shadda for intensity as though you're saying the middle letter twice. You're doubling the middle letter. That's where you're getting the twice at. The shadda is the letter is being expressed twice, which gives it emphasis. Intensity here. Emphasis or intensity. Yes. And it also at times has causation. It's causative. But the main thing about the letter being doubled, the letter is doubled, that's where you get the emphasis or intensity from. I hope that helped the question now. We'll do it again. Now, for form 3, reciprocity, we add an aleph after the first letter. It's reciprocal. That means an action is going between, for example, 2 people. Salim fought Muhammad. Because you said Salim first, Salim initiated the fight. You go to court, and you say Salim and Muhammad was fighting. You're telling the judge Salim initiated the fight when you use Form 3. Yes. So Salim fought Muhammad, and Muhammad defended himself and fought back. That's where you have the reciprocity. But Salim started it if you use Form 3. The one who's named first is the initiator of the act. And then the judge will say, okay, Salim, 5 years. And now look at the judge and say, you're prejudiced. No, because you told me that you was fighting Muhammad, and you said your name first, meaning you initiated it. Form 4, we say nothing. We don't add anything. This Hamza here, this is only here to help pronounce the sukoon here. You can't have this like this with nothing on it. You have to have something to help pronounce this sukoon. So we put the fatha here. We put the Hamza here, the Aleph, the Hamza. So F-Aleph. So we say nothing. Form 1, we added nothing. Form 4, we added nothing. Form 2, we add Shadda. Form 3, we add Aleph. You say it in your head. 2, Shadda. 3, Aleph. 4, nothing. 5, we add a Shadda again. So adding this Shadda, it doubles the letter, so it's like 2. It's intensity. But it's also reflexive, meaning it's a very intensive act, but when we add the ta, it's reflexive, meaning that action occurs from within. Now this is the language. You know, this Quranic language. These rules have been based upon the patterns that the scholars found in the Qur'an. The Qur'an was revealed, but there was no grammar lesson. Muhammed the Prophet didn't go and have grammar lessons. The Qur'an is revealed to him, and the language itself is revelation. Then, especially the non-Arab, who sought to learn what the Qur'an is saying, they discovered these patterns. Now the science of grammar may not be complete and solid, because you will find scholars, they disagree here and here with certain things. But but generally speaking, they have found these patterns in the Qur'an and created this science called grammar that we can study now in reading the Qur'an. So with the ta, with the shadda and the ta, it's intensified. The act occurs from within, and then you can see in the logic of reading the Qur'an, we see how things happen outside of us, and certain things actions occur within. Yes. Sometimes we take that trip within. We'll see when it comes up, what I'm saying. So now, Shadda, we had nothing for 1, Shadda for 2, Aleph for 3, nothing for 4, Shadda for 5, and now we have the Aleph again for 6. We have an Aleph, and then we have this Aleph here, and then we have the Ta. This Aleph is still reciprocal. It's reciprocal like 3. But here I put the word mutual, meaning that now Salim fought Muhammad. But if you use Form 6, we don't know who initiated the act. We just know they were fighting each other. But we don't know the initiator. If you use Form 3, then we know the initiator. That's the difference between 3 and 6. These are basic fundamental rules. So now we have nothing for 1, Shadda for 2, Aleph for 3. Nothing for 4, Shadda for 5, Aleph for 6. Nothing, Shadda, Aleph. Nothing, Shadda, Aleph. Now we go to 7. 7 is we add the noon. we add a noon for 7 before the three root letters. This is just added to pronounce the sukoon here. In fa'ala. So, and it has the sense of the passive, or we call intransitive. You have to look that word up. But I put passive here. I try to make the English language as simple as I can. It's the passive. In shakka. In shakkal kamara. Kamaru. So the moon split. But we don't know who split the moon. It just split. Like the kids say. Did you break that? No, it just broke. That's form 7. It just broke. It just split. It didn't split itself. It just split. That's the passive. We don't know who split it. I was walking by and it just split. We don't know who caused it. It's not form 4. It doesn't say who caused it. It's not form 2. It wasn't done with any intensity. Someone didn't hammer it till it split. It split. No. It wasn't interacting with the earth in the split. It wasn't reciprocal. It's that. It just split. In fa'ala. Now you don't find this a lot in the Qur'an because things just don't happen. These little sayings will help you remember. Form 8, you add a ta after the first letter. It's reflexive. Now, 5 is reflexive, 8 is reflexive, but 5 is reflexive, but it's very intensified. This one is not intensified. 8 is not intensified. That's the difference. Yes. 5, you pound, you pound, you pound, you ponder, you ponder, you ponder, that's 5. 8, you just ponder. 9 is rare in the Qur'an, colors and defects. Colors and defects. The black and the white faces. Yes. Aswaddu, aswadda, biyadda. Some faces are white, some faces are black. Their colors and their defects. Yes. So you all keep going in the Quran looking for colors. Looking for your color in the Quran. When you find it, you're going to find defects. Yes. Istaf'ala. Istaf'ala. With form 10, we added seen and ta. It is to seek. You're seeking something. So, here's the drill. Form 1, nothing. Form 1, nothing. You added nothing. Form 2, shadda. Form 3, aleph. Form 4, nothing. Form 5, shadda, ta. Form 6, aleph, ta. Form 7, noon. Form 8, ta. And then jump to 10, seen, ta. Because 9 is rare. So go through it. Now we break it down in your head as you memorize it. Nothing shadda, aleph. That's 1, 2, 3. Nothing shadda, aleph. 4, 5, 6. Noon, ta, seen, ta. 7, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Nothing shadda, aleph. Nothing shadda, aleph. The second shadda, aleph will have ta on the front. So in your head, you remember nothing shadda, aleph. Nothing shadda, aleph. Noon, ta, seen, ta. See it in your head. See nothing. See the shadda. See the aleph. See nothing. See the shadda and the ta. See the aleph and the ta. See the noon. See the ta. Coming after the first letter. And then seeing ta. That's how you memorize it. You want to put it in your head. put the sheep in your head. Form the present tense. We'll go over more next time. The present tense, same thing with the verb. There's the shadda, aleph, nothing. See here? Now 4 looks like 1. 2 looks like 5. 3 looks like 6. 1 looks like 4. 1 looks just like 4. The letters are the same. Now you don't have this aleph. That's why we say nothing. They look the same letters. How do you know 1 from 4? You look at it and see what's the difference between 1 and 4. But 1 is going to be like 4. You may make a mistake and call 4 1 or 1 4. 2 looks like 5. What's the difference? 3 looks like 6. Study the difference. Then you have 7, 8, and 10. And the command, shadda, aleph, nothing. 1, you got 1, looks like 4. And you get them confused. 1 looks like 4, same letters. 1 looks like 4. Same letters. 2 is like 5, but we add a tab. 3 is like 6, but we added a tab. The sign of the command is the sukoon. We have sukoon, when you conjugate it, all of them can be conjugated. The command, you're only conjugating you. You masculine singular, you feminine singular, you masculine plural, you feminine plural, no, you, yes, you feminine plural, and then you male and female, masculine and feminine dual. It's 5 of them. All the 5 U's. Singular, plural, and dual. It's 5 U's. 2 singulars, 2 plurals, and 1 dual for you. So you'll see the wow aleph a lot. For you, masculine plural, you see that command a lot. Allah will command the individual with the sukoon in the Qur'an. He will command the community, mankind, with the wow aleph. Rarely are you going to find him commanding the feminine. Rarely is he going to command the dual. It's rare in a few places. That's it. Over and over, you're going to find the singular and you're going to find the plural being commanded. The sukoon and the wow aleph. In the nouns, that's the 3 verbs. In the noun, you're going to have 2 through 10. Now, in the internal noun, you have to learn because they may not follow the pattern. And for example, in form 2, there is no shadda. But taf'ilun is the internal noun of form 2. Mufa'alatun, even though there's an aleph, you have to memorize it. If'alun, you have to memorize it. Now, tafa'ulun and tafa'ulun, 5 and 6, you kept it. You have the shadda, you have the aleph. But yet, it's best to memorize the internal noun. The active noun, now in form 1, you have the fa'il and you have maf'ulun. Form 1. Now, form 2 through 10, you put a mu on the first letter. I call them mu words. A mu on the first letter, and you're adding the character that gives it the form. Shadda, aleph. Nothing. Muf'ilun, nothing. A mu word, then you added nothing. You add mu and nothing. Mu aleph. Mu shadda. Mu shadda with the tab. Mu aleph with the tab. All the way down. And when it's mu with the fatha on the middle letter, a castle on the middle letter, it's the active. When it's mu with a factor on the middle letter, it's passive. But you'll see 2 through 10 is mu. You have mu shadda, mu aleph, mu nothing, mu shadda, mu aleph. Then mu noon, mu ta, mu sin ta. So the active and the passive 2 through 10 is easy to recognize. You see that mu, and then see if it's mu e, it's active. If it's mu I, it's passive. And then see what's added in terms of the form. If it's not a mu word, that eliminates these 2 columns, except for the mu right here. But if it's not this one, if it's not these 2, it's not this one, then go up here. Go here, follow the pattern, the drill. You go here. If it's not a fa'il pattern or maf'ulun, this is a mat, not a mu. It's mat, not mu. Move so you can see it. It has to be mu, a dhamma. I call it a mu word. It has to be mu, a dhamma. Here it's a fata, so it's not a mu. But if it's not this pattern, then we have eliminated the active and the passive noun column. Then it must be an internal noun and go from 2 through 10. If it doesn't match, then it's going to be form 1 internal noun. That's the drill that I set in Mali. You see a noun, and we have certain indicators, whether it's a noun or not. You want to know what form it is? You start here. Is it mu? Is it mu? Is it fa'il? Is it maf'ulun? If not, it's going to be internal. If you don't see the match in the internal column, it's going to be form 1 internal noun. You can do that with every word in the Qur'an. If you have a 6 letter, aleph, or waw, or ya, that's in the root, it's going to throw you for a loop. That's why I call them 6 letters. They're defective letters. Ill. They're going to make you ill. Illa. They call it illa. You get the word ill in it. Defective, sick. Ill. They're going to make you ill. You're going to get ill. But after a while, you get used to it. Okay. So but they all measure to the chart. Learn how to use the chart. And then keep the chart with you, and you can always analyze words in a verse. You can analyze verses. Keep the charts with you until the charts are in your head. The next chart is the moves chart. The moves chart is the present tense, because the present tense, we say, the act is going on as we speak, therefore the mood can change. He writes. He wrote yesterday, he writes today, he'll write tomorrow, but the mood can change. He wrote, the mood can't change because he wrote and he's done writing. It's complete. He writes, he's still writing. Man, I saw you was writing last week. You still writing? Yes, he's still writing. So we say he writes. If he's not writing anymore, say, no, I used to write. I don't write anymore. That's past tense. Yes, I still write. I've been writing for 20 years. I'm still writing. That's present tense. But there are certain moves that changes. And we have I liken it to the soul. The soul has 3 moves, not 3 developments, 3 moves. And one of the moves is indicative, meaning that nothing affects it. That one is mutma'ina, the soul is at rest. It's at rest. Nothing affects it. It's present tense, nothing affects it. Then you have the subjunctive. That's the soul lawama. in one of the translations, I think it's called the self-accusing. That's the soul that does something because something else happened. I did this in order that I do this. I did this in order that this happens. It's the subjunctive. In order that this happens. Yes. I studied in order that I will be knowledgeable. I studied so that I will succeed. I studied so that I will pass the test. Passing the test is a subjunctive act to studying. Yes, that's why I did it. That's subjunctive. That's lawama. The Joseph is a commanding spirit. It had the command. Yes. That's Nesun Amara. Amrun. And might hear the word Amrun in it. Command. Nesun Amara. These are not developments, they are moves. Sometimes you could be Amara. You could be demanding. Sometimes you could be subjunctive. You may question or you may do something based on something else. And the other, you just may be doing it, there's nothing affecting it. You're not commanding, you're not subjunctive, you're just doing the act. Remember the three souls, and here we have it in the language. See, it's in the language. The logic is in the language. But some say these are developments. No, you're not born in a commanding spirit and then we think it's bad. Because we're following the philosophy that man is born in sin. The soul is sinful. So it's commanding, and as it develops, it becomes at rest, at peace, in its development. So the last stage of its development is paradise. No, that's not it. He can be born in paradise. He can be born in paradise, and then we agitated him, and he became a criminal and very demanding based upon what we did to him. You could flip it. You know, see them as moods. The mood changes. Yes. And then you have the conjugation. The indicative is recognized by the Dhamma, just as you memorize the present tense. The subjunctive, you have a fata, or where there's a ina, you drop the noon was dropped here. Where there's a una, the noon was dropped here, and you added the aleph. And where there was an ani, you drop the noon and you add the aleph. Now we have a wild aleph in three places. We saw the wild aleph in the past tense, in the conjugation. So it could be past tense, here in the conjugation, or it could be command. We have the aleph in the command, the wild aleph. So here we have, it could be in the past tense, it could be the command, and now it could be in the present tense. The three places you're going to see the wild aleph. In the present tense, where the noon is dropped, there's a wild aleph. Now, quickly, how do you determine? Because you read it, you look at the ending, then you go back. When you read, you see this wild aleph, go back to see if there's a ta or if there's a ya. Wild aleph, if there's a ta or if there's a ya. If there's no ta and no ya, then it's going to either be they masculine plural past tense or you masculine plural command. Read them both ways and see which one makes sense. That's the easiest way to do it. Get the meaning of the word, read it and see if it makes sense command or if it makes sense they masculine plural past tense. I'll give you an example later. We'll see it. That's how you determine the difference. That's the moods. And these are particles that come before the present tense verb that governs the mood. Governs whether it's in the subjunctive, ends in the fatah, or the noon is dropped. This particle comes before it. In the adjective, if you notice, these first three particles may come before it. Now, this particle can govern two verbs in the adjective. If you do so-and-so, you will succeed. If you study would be in the adjective. You will succeed. You will succeed would be in the adjective. Whoever studies will succeed. Whatever you study, you will succeed. When you study, you will succeed. Wherever you study, you will succeed. All the way down. However you study, you will succeed. Now, if you find a present tense verb in a subjunctive and no particle, consider it part of one of these particles have been omitted but understood. Consider it being the response, perhaps, to a condition, but the command was used and not the adjective. Study. That's the command. Study, and you will succeed. There's two verbs, one command and one adjective. But it's the response to a condition. Okay. You're not going to learn in one weekend, one day. I'm just going over this with you, and it's for the students. Remember, this is for students. If you don't know Arabic, you're not going to come listen to me today and then pick the Qur'an up and get it. But if you have studied Arabic in school, as I have said, in a university, and I know how they do in the university, and you still having problems with the Qur'an, you listen to me in the month of Ramadan, you may be fixed. And watch what I'm showing you with these sheets. You may be fixed by the end of Ramadan. And I'm talking to people who we may consider scholars. They are scholars, but they have a problem with Arabic. Yes. And the way they give it to you in the university, I know you have a problem with it. But if you went to the Middle East, hung out on the street, you pick the language up the street, you can speak fluently and all. But when you still pick the Quran up, you're not sure because your grammar wasn't ingrained in you. You can listen to me for Ramadan and get fixed. And pick the Quran up, whole new reading. Yes. Now the nouns. The nouns you have, we're talking grammar now. The first two sheets were forms. The next two sheets are grammar. The moves is the grammar of the verb, and now this is the grammar of the nouns. We're dealing with endings. The first one is marfu'un. Marfu'un is nominative. It's going to end in a dhamma, ani, or una. Or it's going to end in tanween dhamma, ani, or una. If it has an alif lam, we say it's definite. If it does not have the alif lam and tanween, we say it's indefinite. The so-and-so, a so-and-so. Let me have the book. Let me have a book. When it's definite, I'm talking about that book right there. The book is definite. A book, any book. It's indefinite. That's what we mean by definite and indefinite. And the genitive is called majrurun. Majrurun is going to be in a kasra, aini for the door, ina for the plural. Tanween kasra, aini or ini. We could say kasra or tanween kasra, aini for the door, ina for the plural. For the accusative, fatah, aini, ina. Tanween fata, aini, ina. Now, a word can be accusative, and it could be ina, or a word could be ina, or it could be the genitive. You'll know by the context. Or you'll know by the rule in terms of what comes before it. You check genitive first, look at the rules, see what comes before it. If it doesn't fit the genitive, then it's the accusative. I'll show you that. It's all on these sheets. Now here are your rules for the nouns. Nominative, it ends in a dhamma, or tanween dhamma, or una. Add your una. Here are the rules. You got subject, which is mubtada'un, subject of the verb, fa'ilun, deputy subject, na'ibu fa'ilun, noun or subject of kana. You have ismu kana. You have the predicate, khabarun, predicate of inna, khabaru inna. Now here's the shortcut. The nominative, we say, is a subject or influenced by subject. So here, we have subject, subject of the verb, deputy subject, subject of kana. These are all subjects. So if it ends in a dhamma, it's going to be one of these subjects. If there is no verb in the phrase, then it's going to be a subject. If there's a verb in the phrase, it's going to be the subject of the verb or the deputy subject. Meaning the deputy subject means the verb is in the passive. It's in the passive. If the verb is passive, the noun that follows in the dhamma is going to be the deputy subject. I call it the deputy subject. Or the subject of the verb. If there's a kana, we could say it's going to be the subject of kana. But it's going to be a subject. Or it could be a predicate. If there is no verb, we're talking about a subject predicate. There is no subject of the verb and a predicate related in a verse. There's no deputy subject and a predicate related. Now, there's a subject of kana, and then there you'll find in the grammar the predicate of kana. They treat kana like a particle, not a verb. Either way, you can get away with it either way because it's conjugated like a verb. So you had the two schools of thought of grammar. This is where the scholars may differ. One school says kana is a verb because it's conjugated like a verb. The other say no, it's a particle. Two different schools. The school we're looking at with Abu Faris is the one that says kana is a particle, not a verb. If we treat it either way, it will still work. Then you have this particle here, ina. Ina is a particle. So there are certain particles you want to learn. Ina is a particle. It causes the subject to end in fata, accusative, a fata, and the predicate to end in dhamma. That's what ina does. Kana is the opposite. Kana, the noun, ends in dhamma, and the predicate ends in fata. This is kana and ina. These are the two particles of the nominative. Learn these two particles. Learn the sisters of kana, learn the sisters of ina. Then everything is a subject or predicate. So a predicate is what? Influenced by the subject. This predicate is influenced by the subject that ina came in front of. Yes. Come join Molly. You get in detail, you will learn. Guaranteed. then you know how to go back to the chart. In the genitive now, you have the object of the preposition, meaning a preposition came before it. There are five detached prepositions. Min, fi, ala, ila, an. 5. 3 attached. Be, li, ka. Just remember black. Be, li, ka. Or it's a second term possessive where the li, a preposition, is understood. The second term would be genitive, and the preposition li, be, li, ka, the preposition li is understood. So, because it's understood, we would say the genitive is influenced by the preposition. Accusative is influenced by the verb. Now, if you have a noun, if you have a verb and a noun that follows in a feta, or tanween feta, or aini or ina, it's going to be the object of the verb. Now, you have the object of the verb, you have emphasis when it's said twice, you have purpose, it tells you why you're doing the act, you're doing it twice. We talked about, I'll come back to it. It tells you when, it tells you where, above, below, left, right, behind, in front of, that's where. It tells you how it was done. Did you do it laughing? Did you do it crying? How you did the act. And it tells you, it count or compare, we can say how many. You're comparing something. You're comparing or counting. That's distinction. So now, here's the shortcut to help you remember. Treat them all like an object of the verb. It's an object of the verb. It's a maf'ulun. You have maf'ulun bihi, mutlaq, li'ajlihi, zamanin for time, makanin for place, halun for condition, tamiz for distinction. Treat them all maf'ulun. They're all maf'ulun. Maf'ulun mutlaq, maf'ulun li'ajlihi, maf'ulun zaman, maf'ulun makan, maf'ulun ha, maf'ulun tanziz. You can call them all maf'ulun because maf'ulun means what? The action has occurred to it. It's passive. The action has fell upon it. So it's a maf'ulun, but which one? Who, what? That's the object. Direct object. Who, what? You got where, when, why, how, and how many. And then you have twice. Now, to say it twice, the verb and the noun will have the same root. That's emphasis. They say it twice. The verb and the noun will have the same root. So, read it. It's going to be related to the verb. When you see a noun ending fata, go back and see if you can find the verb. If not, the verb will be understood. It can't be nominative. It can be genitive. The verb will be understood. Only in there's exceptions to all these rules. Learn the rule first, then we learn the exceptions. And when it's related to the verb, to the action that's occurring upon it, is it occurring, is it telling you what, who or what directly occurring upon, or is it being said twice? Is it telling you why the act is being done, when or where it's being done, how it's being done, or how many? How many is being done to? That's the accusative. Then you have 5 followers, where you have these particles. These are particles that affect the verb to be accusative. You got ina, which we call ismu ina. That's the noun of ina. You have khabaru kana, which is the predicate of kana. The noun, ina, calls the noun, the subject to be accusative. We call it the noun of ina, or the subject of ina. And it causes the predicate to be nominative. We call it the predicate of ina. We have the predicate of kana, the noun of kana, or the subject of kana, and the predicate of kana. You can say it like that. Subject of ina, predicate of ina. Subject of kana, predicate of kana. The exception. You have the exception, illa. Illa will come before a noun and cause it to end in fatha, showing an exception. The vocative, you have ya. Ya will come before a noun. Now, when these rules occur, you have to join the class. Then you have absolute negation. La ilaha. Absolute negation. It denies the origin of the thing ever existing. La ilaha, no God. No God, meaning no God. Never was a God. It doesn't exist. Absolute negation. No God. La ilaha, no God. It has a fatha. The la and then the noun has a fatha after it. It's the absolute negation. Then there are 5 followers. In the 5 followers, these are nouns that can follow another noun. If it's in the accusative, if it's in nominative, if it's following a nominative noun, it will be nominative. If it's following an accusative noun, it will be accusative. If it's following a genitive noun, it will be genitive. You have adjective, substitute, emphasis, clarity, and sequence. Of the 5, there's 3 that you really want to pay attention to. Adjective, substitute, and sequence. Sequence is easy because you're going to have a conjunction that comes between. You have a where, a fa, a thumma, or a fa. Where, fa, thumma, or ow. I'm sorry. Where, fa, thumma, ow. That's sequence. That will show sequence. Substitute. The substitute, say the first noun first and the second noun second in English. If it makes sense, it's a substitute. Say the second noun first in English and then the first noun makes sense, it's an adjective. Let that be the difference in the beginning between an adjective and a substitute. Which one makes sense? But know that it's a follower. A noun following another noun, describing it as a substitute for it or as describing it as a quality or characteristic. This is adjective and substitute. Emphasis, you're not going to see that much. Meaning that the noun is said twice. Clarity, now Abu Faris, I haven't seen him use clarity, but clarity and substitute are so close. They're so close. In the beginning, I don't worry about it. Until you want to become very refined and clear in the reading. More and more, when you get into tafsirs and things, your reading can become more refined and clearer. Very clear. You have to be careful when you get in arguments about what the Qur'an says or doesn't say, and if this is in the Qur'an, that's not in the Qur'an. The clearer your reading, the more you can understand what's being said. In English, I know people do it. They only read English, and they feel they know. Leave some room. Stay solid. Stay soft clay that you can be formed and reformed. Don't become hard like a rock that you can't be changed. Don't read English and argue with the Quran, and all you can read is English and a couple of Arabic words, and you're not made of soft clay. If you come hard, you're going to have to be broken up. Then you might start crying like a rock. Yes. Allah said he can bring water out of a rock. You heard, but yeah, you'll be crying. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to have a hard heart. So keep your heart soft. Keep it soft like putty. Especially if you cannot read Quranic Arabic. You can argue, but argue like putty. You can be formed and reformed. Okay. You might go 1,000 years and the reformer may come. Yes. We go 100 years, every 100 years. Every 100 years, here comes the reformer. Okay. Now, let's look at some examples. This is the verse that we will be dealing with. Yes, this is the Ramadan sessions for students, and I'm not on the clock. It's going to be recorded. It's recorded on Facebook. It's recorded on the Neen Network, MuslimAmericanLogic.Neen.com. Go in and join. If you join, be sure to have a Muslim name. If your name is Sweet Baby, something like that, I'll probably reject you. So make sure you have a Muslim name. Have a good Muslim handle, you get accepted right away. But if you Baby G or somebody like that, I'll probably reject you. I get those names every now and then. I just reject them. Crazy names, you get rejected. And if you join the Neen Network, there's plenty of information. The only thing that's required, you can't sell it. Do not go on the Neen Network and take the material and make you a book or something and try to sell it. It's not for sale. Do not go and borrow from the Neen Network, this system, and teach it for money. You can't teach it for money. Mighty students cannot go teach for money. You can't teach it for money. Because if you're caught using the system and you teach it for money, I'm telling the world right now, the whole Muslim world, I have a good Jewish lawyer. That means we ain't going to be playing. Yes. Don't let me have to go get him. Don't go to Georgia Tech University like someone wanted to do and give it to them to validate it. And then they using it. So that's where we're going. We ain't going to you don't have the money for it. You can't. Your money can't afford a Jewish lawyer. But Georgia Tech can. So you go there and give it to them. Because it's copyright. I have a copyright. These sheets, I have them copyright. They belong to me. These 5 sheets belong to me. This method with these 5 sheets is my what we call it, intellectual property. And I shared it with another person. I'm not going to tell you who they are. So don't do that. But if you want to use it, it's open. It's free, it's open. But don't charge money for it because you didn't pay to get it. Yes. So join it. It's a lot of information on there. It's a lot of information on the Neen Network. You're open to use it, but not for money. Yes. And you can't buy it from me because you can't afford it. Just that simple. Okay. Let's look at the verse now. Here's the verse we're going to be looking at during the week. Analyzing. Step 1. Remember the method. The method is read it for yourself first. Read it yourself first. No translation. Just read it yourself first. Then we're going to go look to see what some of the sources the other scholars say. Then we're going to look to see what Imam W. Muhammad says. Then we're going to have something to say. And we're going to say it on Sunday. We're going to ask questions, make comments on Sunday. First step, read it yourself. Qul innama ana basharun mithlukum. I put the comma here to show you the phrases. First phrase, qul. Next phrase, innama ana basharun mithlukum. Second phrase. Third phrase, yuha ilayya. Next phrase, annama ilahukum ilahun wahidun. Next phrase, fastaqimu ilayhi. What istakfiru. This is a phrase too. Istakfiru. Where, and then you have a phrase istakfiru. Then the last phrase, wa waylun lil mushrikeen. They're phrases. Now, I've broken them up in phrases. The words here in the phrase are all related to each other. The words in this phrase are all related to each other. Grammatically. The words here are related grammatically. And the words here is related grammatically, and this word here is a phrase by itself. Is related grammatically, and this one. Now, each letter that's connected in the word, now each letter has a meaning. It's connected to other letters, it forms a word, and then it gives that word a meaning. A has a meaning, this Hamza has a meaning, this Noon has a meaning, this Aleph has a meaning. But when you connect them together, it forms one meaning. It brings it together, forming one meaning. Now these words are connected. Innama ana basharun mithlukum, they're connected grammatically, and they're formed together to come together as a whole. Now you connect the phrases. This phrase is connected with this phrase. This phrase is connected with this phrase. You're connecting the phrases now and reading them. And phrases, they also have grammatical positions with each other. Now, I don't get into that far with the students because it got a little difficult for them. But the phrases connect. And this is a phrase by itself. Then you go to the next verse and do the same thing, and then you hold the thought. You can hold the thought in this verse and then connect it with the next verse. And the verses connect. Yes, all the way through the Qur'an. The chapters connect. And then the scripture connects. The scripture that comes before the Qur'an is connected to the Qur'an. It all connects. It's big. Yes. Now some think they can just read the Qur'an and go connect it with the previous scripture. See, the Imam said it. Doesn't mean you can just jump and do it. You have to know how to connect the letters and the verses and the chapters of one book. You have to have the conceptual idea of one book to see how it's really connected to help you understand the previous book. Yes. And you can look at by reading the previous book, it helps you understand what Allah is addressing in the Qur'an, in this book, because they connect. So the Muslim should be studying the Bible. He should study the Qur'an, then study the Bible. And the Christian should study the Bible, then study the Qur'an. Yes. And the Christian don't have to become the Muslim, and the Muslim don't have to become the Christian. It'd be like the two waters meeting, but they don't overtake each other. Yes. Big. Not small, big. Yes. Now, we're looking at the verse and the phrases that connect. So in this phrase, now we're going to read it again. This time we're going to just read it looking at the meaning of the words. So the first one is kul. If you don't know what kul means, now let's let the translation help you. But do not get stuck on the translation. We're not here to teach English, we're here to teach Arabic. Kul is say. He's saying say. That's what it means, say. Unto them Muhammad is added. There is no unto them Muhammad up here. So just say. Innama is a particle. This is a verb, command, this is a particle. Innama, then he says, Basharun mithlukum. I am only is innama. I'm giving this to you. Innama. I is ana. Basharun, he says mortal. Mithlukum is like you. Yuha, meaning it is inspired. This is we'll get to the grammar. It's inspired. This one is to me. Or he said in me. To me, in me. And the man, that, this is that. Ilahukum, your God. This is God, this is one. One God. This one is God, this is one. Just getting the meaning of the words from the translation. Don't worry about how he translated. Just get the meaning of the word. If you don't know the meaning, you have to go look it up. Festakimu. That's it. Did I get the next part? Yes. Festakimu is take the straight path. So kimu is straight path. Straight. That's straight. He said straight path. Ilahi, that's to him. That's unto him. Wastakfiru, that's seek forgiveness. That who on the end of him. Wailun is woe. And lil mushrikeen is idolaters. Now, you get the meaning of the words. Now you go back and read it grammatically for yourself. You got the meaning of the words, got an idea about the words, what the words mean. Don't get locked in. This is just the first step. Now go back and read it grammatically for yourself. Qul is a command. Say. Say. It's understood. You is understood. You say. You, masculine singular. Say. Innama is a particle. Innama is a particle. What kind of particle is innama? We go down here and we're going to look to see, he says innama is makfuf. Makfuf. Makfuf means that it's restricted. When we put inna and we put ma with it, it's restricted, meaning only. The phrase here is going to be only. It's restricted. So now, what is he saying that's restricted? He's saying, Ana basharun mithlukum. So this particle is introducing a phrase there's a restriction on the phrase. So ana is a pronoun. Now I'm going through this first with you without Abu Faris. Wherever we get a hang up, we go to Abu Faris. I'm going to do this with the sheet. Ana. Ana is a pronoun. Ana is a pronoun, and when a pronoun is detached, it's going to be a subject pronoun. Let me show you. I know it's taking a while. If you have somewhere to go, you can go, because it's going to be on the recording. 5 years from now, we should be reading the Qur'an in Arabic for ourselves. This is the system to use. I know we African Americans. I know we're not going to use somebody's system, but this is the system to use for the Muslim world to use. Okay, let me find the sheet. Okay, let's go to the sheet. Now, I have pronouns here on the sheet. You have detached pronouns and you have attached pronouns. These are detached. On this side, with the parentheses, is detached. This one attached in the bracket. These are attached pronouns. A general rule, when a pronoun is by itself, consider it a subject. It's in the nominative, it's the subject. Mubtada one. It's the subject. You can call it a subject pronoun. There are exceptions to the rule, but basically it's a subject pronoun. Treat it like that, you're in the ballpark. If it's attached to a noun, it's the possessive pronoun. It's second term possessive. We call it a possessive pronoun if it's attached to a noun. If it's attached to a verb, it's going to be the object of the verb. If it's attached to the particle, you have to follow the rule of the particle. Whatever the rule of the particle is. Okay. So now, since it's detached, we're going to treat it like it's going to be a subject pronoun. You're going to say I. Basharun is a noun. It ends in tanween dhamma. If it ends in tanween dhamma, we go through the rules. It's nominative because it ends in tanween dhamma. When we have a subject, for complete thought, we need a predicate. So this one ends in dhamma, so let's make it the predicate. Now let's see if it works. If you put is or are before the predicate, say the subject, put is or are before the predicate, and see if it makes sense. I is a mortal. So in English, we're going to say I is a mortal, we say I am a mortal. Does that make sense? But say I is first. Don't say I is and then stop and be confused. Just say it. Just say it. I is a mortal. I are a mortal. No, in proper English, I am a mortal. Does that make sense? Make sense? Go with it. Now, the next one is mithlu and kum. Here is a pronoun attached to a noun. Mithlu is a noun, and kum is an attached pronoun. Right? So let's go and look. So far, we go to the sheet. Now, kum. Let's go to the sheet. Let's find kum attached. Here is kum. Kum is a pronoun attached. You're going to see pronouns attached a lot in the Qur'an. And it's attached to a noun. So since it's attached to the noun, we said it's a possessive pronoun. It's going to be genitive. We're looking at this sheet here. It's going to be genitive, and it's going to be second term possessive. But the noun ended in a dhamma. The first noun ended in a dhamma. So we already said that we have the subject, and then we have the predicate. In your rule, we have the subject already. We have the subject. Now that's the predicate. Let's see how to do it. The subject. We have the subject here. We say ana is the subject. Now we have one word for the predicate. We're looking for a predicate. So we said bashadun is the predicate. There is no verb in the phrase. So it won't be any of these rules. Because there's no verb in the phrase that eliminates all of these rules. All we have is subject and predicate. There's no ina in it that eliminates this one. Now we have mithlu. Mithlukum. Mithlu is in the Dhamma also. But we already have a complete thought when we say, I am a mortal. Then mithlu is not the subject, we already have a subject. It's not the predicate, we already have a predicate. It's not a second predicate. Some may say it's a second predicate. You can get away with it. But it becomes a follower. It's a noun that ends in Dhamma following another noun. So which follower is it? Is it subject? Is it adjective? Let's go to the sheet. I go to the sheet first, and then when I say go to the sheet, you all can go to the sheet. The students should have your sheet out. No. Is it an adjective? Is it substitute? Or is it sequence? Let's go back. If it's adjective, we say that the second noun first and then the first noun that is following. If it's substitute, we say the first noun first and then the second noun. If it's sequence, there should be a wad, a fat, a thumat, or ow that came between the two nouns. So let's go and take a look. Because I'm teaching it, I go slow. But it'll pick up in your mind as you go. Just don't see words and just pull words out and give it your own meaning and not keeping a context. You got to keep things in context. So, mithlukum, mithlu. What do we say mithlu meant? Mithlu meant like. Right? You say, I am a mortal like. I am a like mortal. Which one makes sense? I am a mortal like you, the likeness of you. I am the likeness of you, a mortal. It's easy to say, I am a mortal like you. That's how he translated it. He said, like you. Now, notice down here now, he's going to say it's an adjective, not. That's adjective. But to make it easy for you, the student, if it's an adjective, say it first and then the noun. Say, I am like you, immortal. Or I am immortal like you. It's either an adjective or substitute. Treat it like a substitute. I am immortal. And like you is a substitute. You could say, I am like you. Like you is a substitute. It's not the quality so much so. But either way, see, they're very close. They're followers. They're very close. The followers are going to be close. Don't get a headache over it. Just know the pattern of speech. So I showed you the difference. Then after a while, you'll be able to read and you won't worry so much, but you'll understand what's being said. I am a mortal like you. It's not that deep. Don't get that deep to start out. And you put if you put the between the noun, first noun and second noun for possessive, you can still say it. I am immortal, the likeness of you. I am immortal, the likeness of you. That's that phrase. The words here are not going to be affected grammatically by the words here. So you don't have to be that confused. This phrase, yuha ilayhi, ilayya. Yuha is in the passive. We talked about the passive. This is a passive verb. When you have a dhamma on the first letter, a feta on the middle letter, in the present tense is going to be passive. Then the subject is going to be the deputy subject. The passive verb, the doer, is the deputy subject. So it has been revealed, ilayya, we have the preposition ila, and we have an attached pronoun. This ya is the attached pronoun. You have to and me. So if ila is a preposition, the pronoun is going to be what? The object of the preposition. Just follow the rule here. If the pronoun affects it, nominative, genitive, or accusative, you follow it. So this is a pronoun. The preposition ila. So the ya would be the object of the preposition. To me. So let's go down here. Ilayya is the preposition, and the ya here he's saying is majrurun bihi. We went over the color codes before. Try to read it yourself now. That takes care of this phrase. Anna, you got anna and ma. When you have anna ma, it's also restrictive. It's makruh. It's restrictive. That we can say only. Ilahukum, ilahu is a noun, ends in dhamma, with an attached pronoun, which will be the second term possessive. The God of you all, is plural, the God of you all. So you can say, your God, since it comes first, there is no verb. It's nominative because it's dhamma. There is no verb. So it can't be the subject of the verb. It can't be the deputy subject. It can't be there's no ina. This anama is restrictive. And it ends in dhamma. So we could say it is the subject. Your God, that's the subject. The first one will be the subject. Now we're looking for a predicate, is. Right? Your God is. Now, we have ilahun. It's a noun. How do we know it's a noun? It ends in tanween dhamma. Some of this I'm giving you. You have to be a student to get more detailed. So you're going to say, ilahukum, your God is a God. Your God is a God. Your God are a God. Does it make sense? Your God is a God. Then you have where he's doing another noun. If this is the predicate, this one won't be the predicate. So it's a follower. Let's try it. Your God, that's the subject, is a God. It's a God, not the God, because it's indefinite. Your God is a God. Then you have one. Your God is a God one. Your God is one God. Which one makes sense? This is the follower. Is it adjective? Is it substitute? If you say your God is one God, it's adjective. Your God is a God one, it's a substitute. So one God sounds better. Your God is one God. Subject predicate with an adjective. Only. So your God is one God only. It's not two, not three. That's wahid. Then we go to the next one. Fasta'imu. Here's a wild aleph on the end. Remember, we talked about the wild aleph. Now let's look and see if there's a ya or a tad to begin. There's no ya or tad to begin. So it's not going to be subjunctive or jussive present tense, where the noon was dropped. It's going to either be they masculine plural past tense or you masculine plural command. Which one is it? So let's go. Now we got to connect phrases. Remember, we have to connect the phrase. First phrase is, I am a mortal like you only. I am only a mortal like you. It was revealed to me. It has been revealed to me. That, only that, your God is one God. Fa. This fa is a particle. Let's see what kind of particle is this fa. If he gives, there are different functions of the fa. This fa is just a conjunction. And or then, it's just a conjunction. And then it has istakimu. Then they stood up straight, or they followed let's see, it says, they took the straight path. If it's past tense, they took the straight path. I'm using his words for the translation. They took the straight path. Or, that's they masculine plural past tense. It could mean, right after that came to them, right? Say, this individual say, once he said it, it has been revealed to me that your God is one God, then they took the straight path. Right after he said it. That would be the logic, if it's in the past tense. And this fa, we use a fa. When you use a fa, this fa here is a conjunction. Now, the conjunction shows sequence. Something happens, then something else happens. So the sequence could be the thing happened at the same time. One thing happened first, then the next thing happened. Or the second thing happened first, then the next happened. What's the sequence? When you use fa, when you use wa, here's your sequence. Wa, fa, and thumma. Thumma. This is a mean. Thumma. Don't judge my writing. I'm using a clicker here. Thumma. I can't write anyway. That's why I type. Wa, fa, and thumma. If it's wa doesn't let you know. Wa doesn't indicate which happened first. Or it could happen simultaneous. In general, we don't know what's wa. With fa, the first thing you say happened first, and the next thing happens right after. Right after. There's no time in between. Wa, there could be a long time in between, there could be a short time in between. It doesn't indicate. When you say wa. When you say fa, one thing happened, the other thing happened right after. And it's in that sequence. Wa, the first thing said, second thing said, we don't know the sequence. And we don't know the time. That's wa. Fa, First thing happened, second thing happened, short time. Thumat, first thing happened, second thing happened, there's a lot of time, respectively speaking. Fast, short time, Thumat, long time. Why? Could be short, could be long. Could be together. That's why. Fat, one thing happened, next thing happened, short time. So fat is a conjunction, and it happens right after the first thing you say. It's joining what came before. So this fat is joining this phrase with this phrase. It's not joining the word, it's joining the whole phrase. So I'm reading it for myself now. But I'm reading with his words so that you can follow. Now, this is what I mean by read it grammatically yourself. If I say that this is, I'm going to show you which one. I'm going to show you which one it is for real though. If it's past tense, then they followed, or they. What did he say? I want to say what I want to say, but I'm going to say what he said. They took the straight path. That's past tense. It makes sense. If you put in the command, then take the straight path. That's the command. They took the straight path, that's past tense. Take the straight path, that's command. When we see that wild aleph. The I test. The I test says it can be either one. How do we know which one it is? And the logic will follow. Now, if you don't know grammar, you might pick the wrong one based upon the vowel mark right here. You could say that when Muhammed the Prophet said something to his companions, they did it right away. They obeyed him right away, and they took the straight path right away. You could say that. Sounds good. But, as my good teacher, Imam Jihad Safi would say, sounds good, Imam Salim, but that ain't it. I saw putty, and I said, okay. I can't say that thing. Sounds good, but nope, that's not it. So you have to be soft putty. So it sounds good that the companions, they were so close, they the Sahaba and the Salafi Sahabas, and when he said, your God is one God, surely your God is one God, right away they dropped those idols. And they took the straight path. No, that's not it. Let me show you why that's not it. Now, let's go and look at form 10, past tense and present tense, past tense and command, and see the difference. We're talking about conjugation, 10 form, conjugation, right? Let's go to the 10 form. What form is it? It's form 10. Because we have the seen tab. Now, the past tense is staf'ala. The present tense is staf'il. The same letters. The same letters, if you conjugate it, is staf'alu. It's staf'ilu. Command, past tense. What's the difference between the past and the command? The past tense have a fatha on the middle letter. The command has a kasra on the middle letter. See the slight difference. Now, if you're putty and you took the logic and went all the way down the street with that logic, that they took the straight path and how the companions were obedient and so forth and so on, now you got to change. You got to be reformed. The whole idea has to be reformed. Now, some of us, we get hard. We don't want to be reformed. We say, no, it's the command. So now, what is he saying now? What's the logic? He's saying to them, say. Allah is telling to say. He's telling the individual to say. It's to Muhammad first. Then it's to all individuals. Say. Innama ana basharun mithlukum. I am only a mortal like you. It has been revealed to me. That's the difference between me and you. We'll get into the testimony on this. That your God is one God, then right after, and seek the straight path to him. Now the logic is different. Seek the straight path to him. Not they sought the straight path right after. He tells them to seek it to him. Yes. Where is takfiru? Once again, what form? Form 10. And we have here, we have a preposition, pronoun to him, and maybe next week we'll do a little bit more next week. We'll talk about pronouns and verbs next week, and I'll show you. 4 weeks. We're doing a little more this week than we did last week. 3rd week, we'll do a little more. It's a rigorous, spiritual, enriched month, Ramadan, and this is the Ramadan session for students. I'm not on the clock. As you can see, I'm not on the clock. Don't worry about it. I have the spirit to be here at 8 o'clock tonight. Break fast. I can do this till we get ready to break fast. My spirit will allow me to do this. In fact, in the beginning, I planned to do all what I did all last week. I planned to do that in one weekend. I was going to do it in one weekend, and all that I'm doing this week was going to be in just one weekend. I planned to do, but I stretched it out because we didn't have anything else. Molly didn't prepare anything during the week. It was going to be a Ramadan session 4 times for the students, all in the weekend. Really do a lot of it Saturday, and Sunday do a little, show the Imam Sunday, and have discussion after. It was going to be 4 weekends of it. Maybe next year we may have a Mali retreat, a Mali Ramadan session, go to a place, and start after Fajr, and do like the Imam and go all day with this spirit. For those who are interested, it's for students. No. Yes. We won't do it for money. It won't be for money. Well, it's takfiru who? Now, form 10, why? Because seeing tab. Let's go through it. Is there a shadda? No. Aleph? No. It's not 2, it's not 3. Is there a shadda? Aleph? It's not 5, it's not 6. Is there noon? No. Is there a tag? Yes. There's a tag added. And we see 3 other letters give it the root, there's a tag there. But there's also a sin. Now we have to figure out, if this is the tab 8, what's the 3 root letters? Then you have sad, gab, fa, ra. You only need 3. So there's a sin tag. It could be 8 or it could be 10. There's a sin tag. Which one is it? It's 10. So it's form 10, you're seeking. You're seeking something. What are you seeking? The same up here. You're seeking what? We could say, then seek the straight path. Here, then seek. What are you seeking? You're seeking forgiveness. And this pronoun is attached to the verb. It's the object of the verb. Is it telling you who, what, where, when, why, how many? Or is it saying it twice? Seek, and then you got him. Seek forgiveness, him. Is it telling you who to seek forgiveness to? Is it telling you where, why, when? It's telling you what or who. Seek forgiveness to him. It's the object of the verb. Whenever the pronoun is attached to a verb, it's the object of the verb. It's telling you who or what. Saying who or what? Him. Who is the him? Now we have to go back and find, because phrases are connecting. Here's a him here. Here's a him here. Who is this him? We go back to the phrase. What phrase came before it? Can we find it there? It's the one God. See, the phrases are connected. This him is the one God. That's the him. Or it's your God. It's 11. Your God. He's only one God. This your God. So seek the path to him. Then, or I can give other meanings of this word. And seek forgiveness to him, of him, however you want to put it. To him is the God. Well, waylun, this will be, now another phrase. It's another phrase, so all the words, we're starting a new thought then. Well, waylun, he says, so this will be what? Since there's no verb involved, we can say it's the subject. Waylun. Now we need a predicate for the complete thought. But the next word has a preposition on it and the object of the preposition automatically. Lil mushrikeen, ina. And the genitive is an ina. But there's a preposition, li. So that's not the predicate. Because the predicate has to be in a nominative, not in a genitive. We're going word by word grammar. So the predicate is dropped. Woe is so-and-so for the idolaters. I'm reading it for myself now, but I'm using his definitions. I use his translation for definitions, reading it for myself. And woe is so-and-so for the idolaters. Hope you see how I'm doing it. Okay. That's day number 1. I thank you for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.